Welcome to Make Shit Happen. This is episode number 182. I am going to play episode number 16 today. Just as a refresher, it was way long ago when I interviewed Swapnil Agarwal for my episode number 16. This is a rags to riches story. A young gentleman who came from India with his family, immigrated, came from nothing to now having almost $3 billion in asset that they manage. Guys, this is a very, very inspiring story from Swapnil Agarwal. Let's listen to it and enjoy and see what we can get out of this episode. Thank you for listening to Make Shit Happen. I appreciate your support. Welcome to Make Shit Happen, episode number 15. Today, our guest is Swapnil Agarwal. Swapnil, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking this interview and allowing us in your office. Let us be your guest.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor to be on the show.
Swapnil, for people who don't know you, our viewers, our listeners, tell us a little bit about you.
So my name is Swapnil Agarwal. I am an immigrant from India. I came to America at age of 15 in 1996. Today I am a president, founder, CEO of a real estate investment platform called Nitya Capital and a property management company called Karya Property Management.
Awesome. That's one thing that we have common. I mean, we both are immigrants. We both came at an early age over here. Tell us, how did you get into this Nitya Capital? How did you start this?
I think it's by design. I went to college in Austin at UT and I did my finance degree. Did investment banking for 3 years, and it was in oil and gas in Houston back in 2003, 2006. An opportunity came to join a private equity firm that's focused on real estate, but that was based in Asia. So I relocated to Hong Kong from 2006 to 2013, investing in real estate companies, platforms, and assets across Asia Pacific, including China, Japan, India, Australia. In 2013, I wanted to come back. There's two reasons for it. Obviously, I've always been very entrepreneurial in nature. Plus, we were expecting our first son. And I always wanted to do my own business, right? When working for big, large private equity institutions, the biggest challenge we faced was finding the right partner, like a sponsor. Because, as a PE institution, we are a financial institution. We have the capital. We want to invest with somebody they can trust or we can trust and who's good at what they do. That was always the biggest challenge. And even the firms today worldwide face the big challenge. They can find a property to buy, but who's going to run it for them, right? So what I wanted to do is build like a one-stop shop where not only I'm raising capital, finding deals, but I manage it myself. So my value add is if I raise money from you or some investor, I'm just giving it to somebody else. Then what's my value add? There's no value add. Right. I'm buying apartment complexes. It's not a difficult business, but my value add needs to be, I need to improve that asset physically, cash flows, whatever it is, right? So I said, I'm going to open a company that not only raises capital, but manage. So I become my own operator. I have nobody else to blame. Investors give me money. I'm responsible for that money, to manage that money.
So today, Nitya Capital buys apartment complexes. Do you buy office buildings and offices also?
Yeah, so we started out buying apartment complexes. So started in 2013, and today we have 20,000 apartments across 64 assets all over the country, predominantly in Texas. About 70% are in Texas. But over the last 2-3 years, we realized that competition has got very difficult and everybody wants to own apartments. When we started, it wasn't a sexy thing to be done. Now everybody's like, apartment is the way to go, and they all think they can do it, which great, they should do it. But I think the opportunities are limited in this day and age. So yes, we have about 1 million square foot of office space in Houston. Mm-hmm. We had about 300 square foot of retail mixed use space also in Katy and Woodlands. And we're building one in Riverstone in Sugar Land. And we have a single family platform as well where we buy and flip homes in Austin, Beaumont, and Waco.
Okay. Now when you started in 2013, you come from Hong Kong. And, did you have any capital backing, or how did you start? Or you just said, it's an idea. I need to go do it. What
so, look, when I came back to America, I joined a firm, a private equity institution out of Austin. And the idea was that I'll do it while I stabilize myself and, start my company. I had a few $100,000 of saving. There's a very famous article on Forbes. I don't know if you seen it. It says going from 300,000 to 2 billion by this young entrepreneur. It's the front page of Forbes magazine in October. So essentially I had $300,000. I found an apartment complex in Dallas, which was $1.3 million. And I said, look, I'll put my 300,000 savings so that I didn't know anybody else to go to. And I hate asking money for anybody because especially when I don't know, I can't guarantee the returns. I'd rather take the risk myself. So I said, I'm going to put 300,000, get $1 million loan and buy that complex. Being in finance and being, always writing things down and running numbers, I said, let me put this thing on paper. Let me see how much return I'm going to make. So I made a very small PowerPoint presentation, like 2 pages. And I sent it to 3 of my close best friends. And they all said, well, we want to invest in it. And originally my idea was, no, I just want to send it to you. So look, does it make sense for me to do it? And they said, no, it looks so good that we want to invest. So at that time, I faced a question within my own head. Do I let them invest or do I do it myself? And initially I thought, no, I don't need anybody. Let me just put my own money. Then I said, look, why don't I take few of my close friends and I'll put a big disclaimer. Hey, this is a good deal on paper, but I have never done it. So don't count on it. I said, don't worry, we trust you. So then I said, okay, maybe I'll put some of my own money and then I'll still have 250,000 left. Then I can diversify and buy a few more of these. Right? So that's the good decision I did. I brought in 4 or 5 new investors in the first opportunity. Then I kept buying more and more, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. Yeah. Now, when you buy these apartments, I mean, is there like you look at a cap rate and stuff like that?
Yeah, these are the things that I've learned now. When I first bought it in 2013, I had no clue. I mean, I was from real estate industry, so I knew about cap rates. And cap rates were phenomenal back then, 8.5%, 9%. But per units, I mean, I was paying 25,000 per door. And in my head, I'm really thinking out loud. I'm like, how can I go wrong when I'm buying an apartment complex per unit is $20,000 a door? I mean, the land is probably worth more than everything else. And that's, so I figured that there's a window of opportunity, which is an arbitrage opportunity, where you buy and be as aggressive as you can, because this pricing won't last. And it exactly happened what I thought at that time, where we started buying at 20, 25, 30, 35, 40,000 a unit. And today those same apartment complexes are going for 90, 100, 110 a door. Right? So you had to be aggressive at that time. The challenge was the financing wasn't that great. Right? It always comes like 2009. Those same complexes in 2009 were going for 10, 5,000 a door. Right? Which I paid 20, 25. So the experts or the so-called experienced owners at that time, they were like, oh, you're overpaying. Right? It's like, this is not worth 25. I used to pay 10,000. So that mindset for them allowed me to be aggressive, because in their mind, I was paying a lot of money for it.
Gotcha. So now, when you started in 2013, there must be a lot of frustrations that you must have faced. Today after, you have an article in Forbes and now you have a good track record, 7 years later, I mean, things have probably become easier. Talk about early stage, like how frustrating was. I know some of your friends, right away bought into the idea, but I'm sure that there must have been some hiccups and some frustration. Share that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the frustrations are not less, they're more today.
Okay.
There are different kinds of frustration. The original frustrations or challenges, I would say, I wouldn't call it frustration, was, okay, I have a great idea, I want to buy, but raising capital was a challenge. Right. Luckily, I kept finding good investors who took leap of faith and trusted me, finding good employees, which is still a very big challenge. So challenges were there. Finding a lender who could trust me. I had no net worth. I mean, they all want to require a personal guarantee. I would love to, I'm okay to sign, but what is my net worth? I mean, literally nothing. So that was a big challenge, finding financing, finding banks to take that leap of faith. Today, my challenge is managing 700 employees, 700 plus investors, lenders, accountants, 20,000 families that live in my communities. There are a lot of challenges today. I would say that frustrations, challenges are more today than they were when I first started. They're different in nature. Now it's about, as a CEO, I mean, I'm at top. It's a very lonely place to be because nobody else can relate or connect to me because everybody else is kind of, working for me, you can call it. And so my challenges, I can't really share with anybody because I have to go through it myself. So mental challenge, mentally motivating. So another thing I would say is when I first started, I had the passion. I would wake up every day and say, let's go conquer the day. I have the same thing, but I feel that excitement I used to have when I was first starting, Now, because we've accomplished a lot, we've done it, I think it's marginally subsided. But certain days are really good. I mean, it's day to day, right? Certain days you feel down. Certain days like, okay, I don't really care. I'm fine. I've done really well. Certain days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm only at 20,000 units. I want to be at 200,000. I'm only at 2.5 billion in assets. I want to be at 10 billion, 20 billion. So there are days that, your mindset gets dictated by the events that happen during the day. I think the key is, how do you mentally prepare, and how do you mentally overcome and mature yourself to not be dictated by the events of the day?
And how do you do that?
It's a process, right? It's meditation,
So,
right?
so I mean,
People spend lifetime doing that.
So tell me something, like, you said, that because when you wake up in the morning, so how do you wake, what do you do? Do you have I always say everybody should have a process, a routine in life to be successful, to get to where they're at. What is your routine? What is your process?
Yeah, my routine is, I wake up, my son is 6 years old. I spend about 15 minutes to 30 minutes helping with his homework and just chatting with him. Then I like to work out. I have a gym in my home. I like to get my cardio in. That helps me a lot. I meditate for 20 minutes before I do my cardio, take shower, get ready, have breakfast, come to office. And then it just generally depends on my routine at the office. There's sometimes a lot of meetings. Sometimes I go visit the properties. Sometimes I'm traveling to other cities where we have other properties in. And in the evening, I try to go home and eat dinner with my family. So I try to minimize, today I have like a dinner with mayor, so I can't skip it. But typically any client related or any banker, investor related, I try to meet them in my office during business hours. And when I go home, I want to spend time, watch TV, and usually put in the bed by 10:30, 11.
Sometimes, in the life of businessman, you've accomplished a lot at a very fast pace,
right,
and a very early age. So how many hours in a week you say you do now versus when you started?
Well, I think you're an entrepreneur, so you will know my answer. I think literally, you can be anywhere you want. I could be at home. I could be taking shower. I could be working out. The mind is always working. It's switched on.
Yeah.
So 24 hours, 7 hours a day, you're working.
Yeah.
But in our mind, that's not really work, is it?
Yeah.
Because we are so passionate about it, so we just do it.
Yeah.
It comes naturally. Nobody has to say, hey, we wake up, it's like, damn, I have to go to work, right? You're not thinking like that.
If you're thinking like that,
then you're not an entrepreneur. No.
So tell us a little bit. You say you have a 6-year-old boy. How many kids do you have?
I just have one son.
One son.
Yes.
Okay, and so that was the son your wife was pregnant with when you decided you were gonna move from Hong Kong to.
Yes. So my son was born October 2013, and I started my company in August 2013, and I think he's one of the biggest reasons that I am where I am.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome that you think about your son like that.
Yeah.
But father-son bond is always a deep one. So Swapnil, you said that, hey, I'm at $2 billion asset. I want to be at $20 billion asset. Tell me, and some days you think, you know what, the drive has subsided a little bit. How much more do I want?
Right.
How much can I spend? Because that's something that a challenge goes in people's head.
Yes.
And someone once said, work to your potential, not to your quota.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that? You want to go 10x,
yeah,
but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I will, and I really want to. Obviously, everybody goes through days where they're not as motivated as certain other days they are.
Yeah.
So my motivation now, what drives me now is the number of lives I can touch and influence, right? The number of lives that I can influence. So right now we have 2 schools that I run in India, which has about 800 kids that I provide for boarding, living, meals, and education. So now it's not about, okay, how many millions I'm going to make. Now it's like how many lives I can improve. So I have 800 kids. I want to make it to 8,000, 8 million, 80 million. That's what drives me. We just started our nonprofit organization called Karya Cares. We're doing amazing work here. Karya Cares, we're starting a free healthcare clinic, open for everybody. We have a lot of doctor investors. They're going to volunteer their time. We're going to have full-time nurse practitioners. Healthcare is a big mess in America. A lot of people don't have insurance. We can do our bit, starting a free healthcare clinic. We provide rental assistance. There's people who genuinely can afford to pay rent because let's face it, paycheck by paycheck, right? certain times they get sick, they don't get paid, or somebody passes away in their family, they miss work, they don't have a place to live. So we provide at least 20 residents, we pay for their rent per month. I want that number to go to 200, 2,000, right? And then we're in the process of starting a microfinancing platform where, these people, like, again, same paycheck to paycheck, they run out of money, they go to cash payday loans, paying incredible 25, 30% rates. Why can't I provide for my residents to pay my own rent at very reasonable 3, 4, 5% interest rate? Hopefully they can pay it back. If they're borrowing at 25, 30, but they're always going to be in debt, right? And they're never going to be able to resurface. So a lot of these initiatives, we're providing free healthcare clinic, like I said. We partnered with organizations called Interfaith Ministries to provide meals for the elderly. Every day, free meals to over 40,000 elderly in Houston. We partnered with an organization called Rose Group, which provides free mammograms for women. They have a mobile ambulance that bring property to property. We do that. During the summer, we partner with an organization called Be a Champion that provides free meals to the young kids so that they can stay away from the bad activities. We do a lot in sports. So at every complex we own, we'll have a gym, fitness center. We'll have a playground where the kids can go play. Safety, security. So a lot of these things we're trying to do through our nonprofit organization called Cardiac Cares. That motivates me, right? How can I make Cardiac Cares bigger, right? So I think the mindset has changed. The mindset before is like how much I can make for myself. I think the mindset is how much I can give back.
How much can I give? So what motivated you to form this nonprofit organization?
Look, I've always been in my mind about giving back, doing right to people, because as we didn't get much back into my background, I came to this country with nothing. I was 15 years old. I passed out pizza flyers to pay for my college. A lot of the apartment complexes I passed out pizza flyers I own now. I came with nothing, so I said I have a duty to give back to the less fortunate. This country gave me a lot. America gave me everything.
So tell us a little bit. Did you come over here with your parents?
I came with my parents.
Okay.
I came with my parents. My dad worked at a gas station. My mom worked at a daycare. I had no car. There's a picture of Metro bus I used to take for 7 years because I had no car. So I paid my way through college. I was decently smart. I studied hard and made my way through into the corporate America. So I feel very fortunate, and it's my duty to give back. There's so many unfortunate people in the world that we can help.
How many of you were in your family? You, your father?
I was the only child too.
Oh, you were the only child too?
Yes.
Okay, so all three of you came, and of course, just like a regular, immigrant, especially from the Indo-Pac, South Asian, come, they work at the gas station,
Yeah.
mom works somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, from the humble beginning.
Absolutely.
And that's probably one of the reasons why we have so much passion about, giving and sharing, what we have. And sharing time is a big thing, you know. And talking about yourself, that's a big thing. So I appreciate you sharing your time. I mean, you're so busy.
No, I get touched upon. I get very humbled, when people message me on LinkedIn and different various sources. Young kid, college kids, like, I've been reading about you. I'm so inspired. Please, can you talk for 2 minutes? I mean, for them, it's just time, right? It means a lot. And for me, God has put me in this position. I'm so fortunate to have this platform. In my mind, I would be doing disservice by not expanding this platform for better and bigger use, right? Not many people get to be where I am, right? I think I'm just very lucky. There's plenty of people smarter than me. There's plenty of people that work harder than me. God chose me as a medium, in a way, essentially, to spread happiness and love and inspire people. And I'm going to make sure that if I don't do it, then there's going to be a disappointment.
That's very inspiring. Thank you so much for that. But, that kind of touched me personally.
Thank you.
Now, 7 years that you've been having this Nitya Capital, you were, again, in Hong Kong. How long were you there?
I was there for 7 years.
7 years. So this 14 years of journey that you've had, coming, going from here to Hong Kong, learning the business, coming back over your home, you must have faced some sort of failures.
Yes.
Can you touch upon some and share
Yeah,
some?
there's a lot of failures, I would say, and every day feels some sort of a failure in a way. I would say that there's not a certain incident that I would say that was like a biggest failure. I would say there were a lot of setbacks. When I was a U.S. citizen or green card, I faced a lot of challenges with the immigration process, right? It was very frustrating, but that allows me, I have 700 plus employees. A lot of them have paper visa issues. That allows me to file and help them with their green card and their immigration, because I know how difficult and frustrating that is. So any frustration or setback or failure I have faced in a specific field, in a way, it helps me now to relate on that extent. Like I was in Hong Kong, I was traveling through Asia Pacific, and so the challenge in Asia Pacific in my job wasn't to find the right investment opportunity. The challenge was to find a partner you can trust. And when you're in China or Japan, very, very different cultures. India, you in China, like you have to talk a certain way. You have to supposed to go out on drinks with them, and the deals get made while you're drinking, right? So that culture, learning about people, trusting people, I think that was a big challenge, which helps me now. So what I say is, every deal looks great on paper, right? Have you ever done a bad deal that didn't look good on paper? No. Every deal is supposed to make you 3, 4, 5, 10 times. Yeah. So how do you execute that business plan is where you can excel or you cannot do well, right? So when I talk to my investors, there's like, okay, how does this deal look good? I said, look, if you trust me, then invest. If you don't trust me, it doesn't matter what the deal looks good on paper or not. Any deal, any bad deal could become good deal if the operator is honest and transparent and works hard. A great deal can become greater with harder work and being smart.
So you have a lot of investors. I mean, do you ever think about today, do I need an investor? Why can't I just do it myself?
I don't need it. I mean, we are almost in the process of, we might go public as a REIT. We have BlackRock backing us. So, look, I mean, we are fortunate that we have a lot of high caliber, high net worth family offices. We have a lot of institutional investors out of New York, out of Israel. So we have different buckets. So you're right. I don't need the investors, but that's just the process, and that's the way our company is set up. Right? Obviously, I can do most of the deals myself. But again, going back to the first deal, personally, I could maybe do 5, 10 deals, but every investor, I could do 100 deals. 100 right? Deals.
So, gotcha. So one more thing I want to ask you about that. When you face setbacks and, it gets to be like, okay, well, I should have done this way. I should have done that way. How do you sometimes find a balance? And if you made a mistake, to get over the hump and move to the next one. That's a lot of challenge that a lot of people have. And also because you're a young entrepreneur, you've only been in business for 7 years, we can say. Sometimes a lot of young entrepreneurs, they face a setback, but they want to run real fast, and then they face a setback. How would what kind of advice you'll have? For
I think the key is who you surround yourself with, right? I've surrounded myself with professionals and my colleagues, and they're my close friends of many years. So high caliber talent. Our COO has over 20 plus years experience. Our CFO, he's been a great accountant. He worked for top 5 accounting firms. We have in-house legal counsel with 30 plus legal experience. Our operations team is full of people with a lot of experience, and not only experience, the key executives in every position, whether it's asset management, finance, accounting, operations, are individuals who I've known personally, and maybe some of them were my bosses in my previous jobs. So I have no ego. I know what people are good at, and I will make sure that each department is headed by those same sort of individuals. Plus also personality plays a big role. So like I'm very aggressive in nature. I'm very entrepreneurial. I want to do every deal, but then I surround myself with people who are very conservative. Right? My own wife, she's very conservative. So it's a good balance to have, like you're asking, combining somebody very aggressive with very conservative person in nature. My executive team, they make sure they analyze every aspect of every transaction, asset management, and it's a good combination. And that frustrates me too sometimes, because seems like sometimes I'm the only one who wants to do everything. I'm the most aggressive one, and everybody's like kind of holding me back. So then you have to take a step back and think about all of it, and that sometimes leads to some challenges.
So what do you think about sometimes entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs? They're like, I just got to get it. I can get it now. I need to get it all right now. What kind of message will you have for that?
It's I think it's the world we live in. Yeah. Right? Everybody wants that instant gratification. I mean, look, everybody has a smartphone. They want everything right away, right? They don't want to wait. That's just the millennial generation. And only thing I can say is, look, don't try to change yourself, but just have a balance in your life that balances out that thought process.
Okay. I made a little video about this, and I said, hey, sometimes people look at the bottom line and they try not to hire some people. They cheat their organization with hiring a couple of people. And I said, hey, if you're not good at creating, let's say, Facebook ads or marketing, hire somebody who knows better.
Absolutely.
Because if you're too concerned about bottom line, I'm going to pay this guy $60,000, and that $60,000 is going to affect my bottom line, you're also affecting your top line.
No, you always, my view is go in for a long haul, right? That's one of the biggest reasons of my success, of whatever success I've had, is I've continued to hire good people. I've never looked at the bottom line. For me, it's like, okay, I need a great team. I need to surround myself with great people to manage the growth that I'm going to experience. I can't do everything myself. Yes, sure, first 3 deals, I did everything myself. But I realized if I want to continue that, I might not have more than 3 deals. That's the mindset of the old school, like my parents, like my dad. For his whole life, he had one liquor store, right? He was happy with it. He was content. But he wasn't of the mindset that let's hire more so he can multiply, right? For me, the mindset was let's hire. Don't look at how much money. My property management company still doesn't make any profit because I have the great talent staffed in that company to manage the exponential growth that's happening, and it's going to happen. So to those young millennials, the young generation who want everything, looking at the bottom line, don't look at short term. Make a 5-10 year projection and look in year 10 what you want it to be, not year 1. And it's an investment, right? These expenses, like hiring somebody who's good at Facebook, social media, ads, it's an investment you're making so that your time is your biggest commodity, right? Do you want to spend that time making ads, or do you want to spend time raising money or finding new deals? You have to decide that.
Exactly. What kind of message will you have for aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start something? It can be anything, right? It can be opening up an ice cream shop, or opening up a liquor store, or being in something like raising capital. What kind of message will you have, or advice you'll have?
I think my biggest advice is stayed the same even in the beginning, which I had to overcome. Don't be afraid to take risk, right? I think 99.9% of the population in the world all work for somebody else, and only less than 1% are entrepreneurs. Why is that? Because we are not afraid to take risk, right? 99.9% of the people, they want that paycheck security, right? They're looking, I want that paycheck every 2 weeks, and what happens if I don't get the paycheck? They're always thinking of the downside risk. But they should think about, it's okay, you're smart enough, you're educated, don't be afraid to start something you're passionate about. And a lot of people get stuck in this mindset of, okay, my idea has to be like a genius idea that nobody has done. Don't think about it, right? You own a furniture store. There's plenty of people doing it, but how can you do it better, right? People own apartment complexes much before me. They've been around for 100 plus years, but how can I do it better? What's my value add? How can Apple iPhone wasn't the first smartphone. There were Blackberries, there were Palm Pilots, right? So how can you do something that already exists better? Don't look for the home run ideas nobody has ever done, because they don't exist.
That doesn't exist.
Right? So that's my advice. Don't be afraid to take risk. Go all in, and most likely you will come out ahead.
A lot of young entrepreneurs, they start business, and a lot of them start with the idea that I want to be free. I want freedom. I want time. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do. What is your point of view on that?
Yeah, I think they're in for a harsh reality, because usually it's going to be the opposite. When you're working for somebody else, your timing, 8 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever it is. When you're working for yourself, there's not a single second you should not be working. Whether it's at home, whether you're taking a shower, doing whatever. You have to work very hard, and you have to be ready for that. And the only way you can work hard is if you're passionate about it. It shouldn't feel like work. Like we were talking earlier, working doesn't feel like work for us. It's what we do, how we're built.
It's a way of life.
Exactly.
Okay. So to those younger people or aspiring entrepreneurs, they're like, man, I want to be an entrepreneur because that way I can take weekends off and I don't have to work late nights. You think that doesn't exist?
It does not exist. Then you should not be an entrepreneur.
Then you should not be an entrepreneur. I really appreciate this time you've given us. This knowledge you have shared with us. And I'm honestly, one thing that really impressed me about this, Karya Cares.
Yeah.
How did you come up with Karya Cares name, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I think my wife came up with it. So Karya is the name of our property management company. And Karya means karma in Sanskrit, doing good actions without worrying about the results. And I think, we were trying to find a word that kind of rhymes with Karya. So it's Karya cares with a K. So KK. So that's how I gave over.
So I know your wife is involved in business with you.
Yes.
Also, what does she do, if you don't mind me asking?
She's our head of marketing, and she usually assists with whatever we need. So she's kind of like the eyes and ears to the ground. She gets information, and she's great at social media. We have a whole social media team. We have a graphic designing team working under her. So in this day and age, everything is about marketing and branding.
Exactly.
So she's responsible for that side of the business.
Awesome. Now, how did you feel when Forbes did an article on you? I mean, that's a big accomplishment.
Yes.
I mean, for someone to be, did you ever think about this guy who was 15 years old, came from India, was riding the metro bus?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever think about it at that time? I'm going to have an article, front page Forbes. I mean, did you ever think about that? What did you think when that happened?
Obviously, I was very happy, and I've been rewarded. I've been recognized much more than what I deserve, to be honest. In my first try, I got Entrepreneur of the Year, EY. I'm 40 under 40. Then this Forbes article. So I've been very blessed, right? And I think, like I said, it's the mindset. So I think in the last, I would say 2 years or 18 months, I've kind of graduated my mindset to the next level where these things are exciting. They make me feel happy for a certain period of time. And I go back to the same thoughts that I shared earlier is, I think there's a reason why this is all happening to me. I'm just a medium to make much bigger impact in this world. So they make me happy. I get excited, but then the work doesn't stop, right?
Then the work doesn't
going.
stop. Then you go on to the next
Yes.
one. Celebrate for a little bit.
Yes.
Back to work. Back to grind. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Before we go and before we end this interview, I do this with all my guests. I want to 3 things that you can share with the world, your future generation. Let's say everything has been destroyed, you have nothing gone left. Just these 3 advice from Swapnil Agarwal. What will it be?
I don't know if these advice will apply if everything has been destroyed.
3 things, 3 messages from you. How to live, it can be anything. Way of life, what is important, what do you think?
Never forget your roots. Always be very, very humble. I think humility is going to take you a long way. Don't have an ego about yourself, and always believe in giving back. I truly believe that. The way I think about it is the more I give back, I get 10 times back in return. So I'm kind of doing it for a selfish reason, to be honest. It's a secret I'm sharing today. So if I give $100, I know I'm going to get 1,000 back.
I totally believe in that too.
Yeah.
So let's repeat that. Don't forget your roots.
Yeah.
Be humble, humility, and keep ego aside.
Yeah.
And number 3, give back. Don't forget to give back.
Yeah.
Whatever you give back, you'll get tenfold back. So that's awesome. Now one thing I kind of forgot about to ask you this was in my one of my questions that I always ask. Humility. How important is that to you, and what kind of role does it play in one's character, one's business, and one's life?
Huge role, man. Huge role.
Why is it important?
I think end of the day, we're all people, very humans. Sure, some people can be more intelligent. Some people could be more rich. Some people could have a bigger house. Some people could have a bigger, nicer car. Doesn't change who we are as people, right? We all are built with the same emotions, same physical aspects. So why wouldn't you not have humility, right? You're end of the day, we're all brothers, sisters, all part of the world, right? So you're human to human. There needs to be a connection, and it takes a huge role. It plays a huge role in long term because when I first started my business, obviously I was a young kid, coming out of job, no money, no net worth. And a lot of people had to take that big leap of faith, like those construction workers, those maintenance guys, the managers. And I still remember them, right? 7 years later, they're still with me. They're very loyal. And for me, I'm still that same old Swapnil, right? My wife got married to me 14 years ago when I just came out of college. I had nothing. So that relationship needs to stay intact without any other barriers of money, power. End of the day, why do we earn money? We earn money because we think it's going to make us happy, right? Usually it doesn't work out that way. So I think the person who's happier and has a clear mental state than me, I think he's richer than me, even though I might have more money. So happiness is, I think, the key goal. Everybody's striving for it, pursuit of happiness. But somehow it gets associated that money leads you there. And I can tell you, it doesn't lead you there. It's your own mental aspect, how you look at way of life will lead you there.
So you said so you totally believe money does not buy you happiness.
Money will help you buy happiness for a short term of time. It will alleviate some of your concerns. That look, money is necessary. Money is necessary for food, for housing, but after that, it's your own mental state of
Your mindset.
Yeah, mindset. That will, if you're, I mean, billionaires usually commit more suicide than somebody living, a farmer does, right? Think about it. There's a reason for it. People in small towns and villages are usually happier than big city guys. There's a reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right about that. I think about that all the time too.
Yeah.
Now, money is necessary. I think money is necessary. I mean, my point of view, that I would like to share, money is necessary. Money is is an instrument that does buy you happiness. At the same time, when money buys you peace, I think it just is better.
Right.
Because without peace, I mean, people tend to be unhappy at the same time.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. So honestly, this is one of the interviews I got it from you, and I'm more inspired leaving out of here than the way I came in. And I'm so happy about this, and I'm so happy that you connected with me. I really want to give you credit that you didn't know who I was. I connected with you on LinkedIn, and you embraced me with open arms. And I know you're very busy, and I want to thank you for that. And I mean, not trying to just do that just because you're sitting in front of me. It really, the way you humbled yourself, and there was no ego. I'm totally impressed.
Thank you.
I
my
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
My
We have
pleasure.
very similar story.
Yes.
Coming from that part of the world at age 15. Humble beginnings. And my friend, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Guys, this was a powerful interview with Swapnil Agarwal. Please tune in and hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.